For TRICHOMES.com, I'm Jarod Duggins, and this is Careers in Cannabis. On the show, we sit down with staffing agencies, cannabis companies, and other industry professionals to discuss employment opportunities in the burgeoning cannabis industry. So, as you might have noticed already, a couple of new things are happening. Today marks the beginning of video. Unfortunately for me, I have a face for radio, as a few people have told me, but we're starting it, and that's what's going to be happening here at Trichome. So it also happens to be the episode where the passing of the proverbial torch is happening. It's been a pleasure and a privilege to sit with everybody, all the individuals who have chosen cannabis as a career path, and then in turn took the time not only to relate why and how, but in most cases even shared with our audience about more real career opportunities becoming available with each passing day. We started Careers in Cannabis when the unemployment rate was skyrocketing during the first part of the pandemic for two reasons: to let anyone who would listen know that cannabis was going to be here tomorrow, and that today the industry needs good people to help it grow. Our guest today is the person who's taking over the Careers in Cannabis show. Her life experiences led her to a career path in cannabis. In my opinion, the only thing that has overshadowed her work ethic is her passion for the cannabis community. Today, I am joined by Ashley Manning, Director of Operations for TRICHOMES.com. Welcome to the show.
It's great to be here, Jarod.
Well, welcome to your show. This is what we're here about, but we'll get to that a little bit later. Want to introduce Ashley Manning from now our Director of Operations for TRICHOMES.com. But, lots of our listeners will know her from the NACB and some other background in her jobs that she's had in cannabis. But first of all, I know how you've been doing, and I know what you've been doing over the last little bit, but the audience would probably like to catch up a little bit. How have you been doing over the last few months as we've been getting through this? Where have you been staying at?
I've been staying in quarantine at home or traveling in my RV, which has been a great experience to be able to work on the road as well as enjoy nature and stay quarantined and safe. And that's been really what I've been doing the past 6-7 months now.
I know one of the things that you had recently done was gone out and got that RV and started doing some local trips, and to break the monotony of being quarantined at home. Really, it sounded you kind of took home on the road, and how have those trips been? I know publicly you've been out on social media, LinkedIn a little bit with it, but how have those gone? I know you just did the Thanksgiving trip, right?
Yes, went up to the redwood forest. From the East Coast / Midwest and Pennsylvania and Ohio, mushroom hunting is a big deal, and haven't yet to find a place in California where you can mushroom hunt. Not psychedelic mushrooms, but edible mushrooms, and was able to identify close to 25-30 mushrooms in the redwood forest, which was really cool. Way beyond what I expected. But that was the most recent trip, one
Awesome.
Not to be forgot.
Awesome. Well, here you've joined on with us, and we're clarifying the chronicles of cannabis is in the hashtag and kind of part of the motto here. But you've come by way of the NACB, and that was sitting and trying to set standards within the industry. I know you've carried a bit of passion within your career towards this. Where did you start off in cannabis? But real quick, how did you get to cannabis? What did you do before cannabis that you want to share with the audience?
Well, my story is pretty personal, and I'm very happy to share that at another time, probably not on Careers in Cannabis. But through my own success of using medical cannabis and working in the emergency room prior to entering cannabis, I realized that I could help patients and people the same way that I did in the hospital. And it's as simple as understanding one plant versus having to understand a series of pharmaceuticals. But it really starts with helping spread education through what I and many others like yourself who have experienced through our personal and professional time working in cannabis. So I do feel like fate brought me here today, and it's just been a journey along the way, which has been great.
Nice. Well, this is really just kind of a formality where we're making our debut into video, and we get to do that together as we hand off the torch. So here's the proverbial torch. You're taking this over, and at this
Thank you.
juncture, we are turning a corner in careers in cannabis. We started this as a response. We thought a duly needed response to the jobless report and the jobless percentages going through the roof, unemployment percentages going through the roof in regards to this pandemic and businesses going out of business and all that kind of stuff happening. The pandemic happened, the panic happened, people were losing their jobs. And what happened in the meantime was cannabis was deemed essential. And wow, all of a sudden we have an industry, a burgeoning industry, a growing industry that is now taking shape. And we we jumped on the opportunity to basically start to educate people on the fact that not only is there a job in cannabis or is cannabis out there and there's some dispensaries, but there's actually career opportunity in cannabis. And since the inception, we've visited with recruiters and staffing agencies and that kind of stuff. We visited with traditional industry executives that have crossed over into it. So, really the reach out was to get two things across to our listeners was one, cannabis is here to stay. And number two, it needs good people to help it grow into what it's going to become. And, we're probably about at the end of what is the first stage of COVID. Whatever happens over the end of this Trump administration and the beginning of the Biden administration is going to be, in I hope in good faith what they deem is best for the country. But as right now, as advertised, I do believe we're going to be going back into lockdown. So have we seen the end of businesses shutting down? I'm not sure. But one thing's for sure, that cannabis keeps growing. And we're kind of turning that corner in cannabis as far as more states just went recreationally legal, and darn near all of them have accepted something medically in medical fashion. Let's not talk about the politics of federal legality or that kind of thing or whatnot, or get into predictions. But what are your hopes as you take the mic and begin to take on interviews of your own and talk to people in the same fashion that we started this? What are you hoping to do within your reign at the mic?
Well, I didn't expect part of my mission and vision to spread careers in cannabis, a message regarding transitioning your career from one industry into another. So it just is elevating the amount of ways we can reach people, because not only are we talking about a career in cannabis, is we're talking about that. We're talking about the education behind the research behind medical cannabis, because to work in cannabis, you should have a understanding regarding how it works with the body and how it's grown, and understanding different facets within the plant itself and the industry. But it's not required. I don't think it's needed to work in cannabis, but at the same time of beginning your career in cannabis, you're learning. So you're getting free education while you're getting paid.
Hey, there's a lot to learn, and I know. One of your first jobs, you were under the tutelage of somebody that was early to the hemp game and that kind of stuff. You want to tell our listeners a little bit about that?
Yeah. When I realized I was done working in the hospital, I reached out to a couple cultivation places. I figured if I'm going to work with cannabis, I feel like the first thing, it starts with understanding how to grow the plant and how important that is. And so I found an internship through a place in San Diego and became an intern for Dr. Allison Justice, who was very hard on me in the beginnings, but that's a farmer's life, is hard work, early mornings and late nights. So it instilled a really, really deep appreciation for work ethic for the cultivators and for the farmers. I just saw that. So it was a very incredible experience. It was roughly about 8-9 months. And then after working for Dr. Justice, it the grow facility she was at, I realized I could take the knowledge that I learned regarding how to grow the plant and start spreading the message by working for a company on the sales side of things. So went on from the plant, went into sales, and that's began my next step in my career in cannabis.
Nice. Nice. Well, and I know part of the passion arises from your want for regulation and standardization within that, and you had a tenure there at NACB, and that's actually where we met. And so, very thankful for all the trade industry associations that have helped form our industry along the way. NACB, and CIA, CCIA here in California, so many to list. I couldn't really get into outside of that, but those are the majors here that have really done that. And then the legacy groups like Normal and MPP and that kind of stuff have really helped pave the way to where we are today. And so I know you latched onto that effort 4 or 5 years ago, and today you've progressed up the ranks, and your experiences have brought you as to where the impact you're making on a daily basis is huge. And I thank you for all the contributions you made along the way.
Thank you.
So yeah, I'm really excited about handing the mic off, because we're going to be starting a couple of new segments here ourselves, and we're expanding and growing and that kind of stuff. And thank you very much for taking the opportunity to take the mic over, because yeah, I know your ties run deep within the industry, and I'm looking forward to seeing some more quality content and more opportunities come via Careers in Cannabis. We've gotten a pretty decent feedback from our growing listenership. We've heard some things from some people that we've put out podcasts with, and getting a response via email and directly to their social media handles and that kind of stuff. So it's great to know that people are actually listening and taking advantage of a new career path. So, hey, that's about all I got. Is Ashley Manning, everybody, your new host for Careers in Cannabis. I hope you keep tuning in and listen for more as we keep providing more content, where we'll be growing in a number of shows. We're expanding about double our shows with some more hosts and more great industry professionals joining us to keep you attuned as to what's happening in the burgeoning cannabis industry. So thanks for tuning in. And Ashley, thanks for taking the time.
Thank you for the opportunity to be here, to work for you, interview, and handing over the mic to me. It's very exciting. I look forward to the next steps in 2021.
It's really been our pleasure. Everybody here loves you, and thanks for coming aboard.
Thanks, Jarod.
As always, you can follow our series, Careers in Cannabis, as well as more great shows like this one at TRICHOMES.com. If you're a member of the cannabis community and you have a story you want to share with us, reach out. You can reach the show at Careers in Cannabis at TRICHOMES.com. Hey, please take a second to subscribe to our channel and write a review. It really helps others find the show. Again, and for the last time on Careers in Cannabis, for TRICHOMES.com, I'm Jarod Duggins. Be well, and thank you for listening.